if you have wrist pain when you hold a plank on your hands or if you're doing push-ups, I have a couple of solutions for that. So these are the things that I teach and I tell my clients. You should be able to do push-ups on your hands. It is something that you can work towards. It's not, if you have wrist pain, it's not necessarily like a death sentence, meaning that you'll never be able to do push-ups on your hands. You just have to work on your wrist strength and flexibility. And so there are a couple of things that you can do to do that. I would recommend warming up your wrists before you try any plank or push-up position. So here's what I have my clients do. It's a series of exercises. We go up and down. So you can do up, down for like 10 to 12. And then you draw circles for 10, wrist circles, going whichever direction. And then switch the direction and go 10 to the other way. So what this does is it warms up the muscles that control your wrist. It also gives you a little chance to dynamically stretch, and it gets some more synovial fluid, or gets synovial fluid between your joints more viscous, which helps to cushion your joints, which should make them more flexible and able to move. And then finally, there's also a wrist strengthening exercise that you can do where you come into all fours and you're just gonna rock forward and back as far as you can. So you're flexing the wrist with control under that tension. And you do this about 10 times. So the first time you do this, you may not be ready to do push-ups on your hands, but doing this series of exercises consistently, you know, like every day or a couple times a week, can really help to get your wrist to the point where you can do push-ups. In the meantime, there's a couple of solutions for you. One is that you can practice incline push-ups on a bench, because this will allow you to have your wrists not quite as flexed. So you can do them here, and see how I'm not quite at like a 90-degree angle. And you can try to like on the edge of your bench if your bench isn't as unstable as mine. So that's one way that you can give it a try. The other solutions, one, you can use a pair of dumbbells or hand weights to keep your wrists straight. So you're gonna put the weights on the floor like this at about a 45-degree angle where your hands would be for a push-up. And you're gonna perform your push-ups like this. So this allows you to keep your wrists straight. And then finally, this is kind of a hard variation, something that a lot of people who practice karate will do to toughen up their knuckles. People who do boxing sometimes do push-ups this way, but you're basically on your fists or on your knuckles, and you perform that way. If you're not on a really cushy mat, that might feel super uncomfortable. I'll show from this way too. So those are some solutions for you. Another thing that you might try is just dropping to your knees, because you might find that being in a full plank position with your knees up is gonna put more pressure on your wrist. So if you drop down to your knees and do a kneeling push-up, that might take some of the strain off of your wrists and give you just enough stimulus to strengthen those muscles and work on your flexibility without overdoing it. You wanna make sure with these that your hips and your shoulders move at exactly the same time. And this might help to strengthen your wrists. So those are options for you to try if you're one of my clients and you're doing one of my programs, or if you downloaded one of my programs and it has push-ups or a plank on your wrists. That's your options. You can kind of strengthen up your wrists, use an incline, use dumbbells, do on your fists. For plank exercises or plank-based exercises, you also can come down onto your elbows. So for example, if I have plank step outs or plank crunches, exercises where you move your legs while you're holding a plank, you can always try to do these on your elbows too, if it's too much on your wrists. like that. That's an option in the short term, but I would really encourage you to try those strengthening and stretching exercises to work on your wrist strength so you can get to the point where you can do push-ups comfortably, because it is something that you can improve if you work consistently at it. I think it's definitely worthwhile for your overall mobility and your ability to access different exercises. So those are my push-ups tips.